Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Radha Gopala Nanda Ki Jai Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji Jai Shri Jalaram Baba Ki Jai Shri Ambe Mata Ki Jai Shankar Bhagwan Ki Jai Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.
Okay. So thank you all for coming again to part 2 of chapter 11, the universal form. I feel a lot more at home and calm because Divyesh Pai is here.
I'm watching the watch. I've heard about this already.
Yeah, we were freestyling last week. We were here till 11. So last week we were discussing Arjun requesting to see Krishna in this universal form. Arjun requesting Krishna to see this form that proved that the whole universe is within him. And when Krishna showed this form to Arjun, Arjun thought he basically thought he was watching a horror movie. It was too much for him. It was very, very, very overwhelming. It was too much. And because it was so overwhelming, because it felt so much, he was starting to wonder, like, what's going on here? What's happening here? So we'll pick this up from chapter 11, text number 32. We went up to 31, so we'll pick it up there. But before we do that, we'll just chant the usual invocation prayers. So let's bring ourselves to the room. We may be feeling a little distracted. Whatever happened in our day today may still be on our mind. We may be wondering who's walking through the door. We may be wondering if we locked the car. We may be wondering if we put the alarm on in the house, if we switched off the oven, if we switched off the iron. All these things just suddenly become interesting, important when it comes to spending some time with the Lord. Why? Why is it? Because what happens is we are trying to penetrate through the material energy and start to become more absorbed in the spiritual energy, the spiritual environment. But when we're trying to penetrate through that material energy, the mind will start, and it looks like already is, giving us ways of distracting ourselves. Why? Why? Because the mind wants to fool us that actually this whatever's going on in the material world, whatever's going on here is the most important thing. So the mind is always trying to trick us. Did the mind try and trick you today about coming here? Shall we go? Shall we not? I don't know. I heard there's going to be rain. All these different things. And suddenly, at some point, we've just got to make the decision. No, I'm going to spend some time with Krishna. I'm going to spend some time with Krishna through hearing and discussing the Bhagavad Gita. So let's bring ourselves to this place. Let's bring ourselves to the battlefield of Kurukshetra. If we'd like to close our eyes, we can. We don't have to. Just bring ourselves to the battlefield where Arjuna has now seen this ghastly form of Krishna. He started to see all the universes, all the planets, all of the destruction that is taking place. And start to let go of all those things that we may have been worried about before we got here today. And just allow ourselves to be in this space, in Kurukshetra. Allow ourselves to let go of everything else and slowly become aware of our breath. Just breathing in softly through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And just becoming aware of our breath as it generates our body, as it livens our body. And as we're breathing in, breathe into the heart where Krishna is residing as Paramatma, as the Super Soul. And become aware of His presence within us. The Supreme Lord is within our hearts and never ever lets us go. Okay, so we'll just chant the invocation prayers. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So here we are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I remember when I got married, sometime later, one of my devotee friends said to me, "So how is your home? Is it like Vrindavan or is it like Kurukshetra?" And I didn't want to answer. So maybe we are very aware of what Kurukshetra may be like, just at home sometimes. So, in chapter 11, towards the end of the session last week, Arjun started to see a lot of destruction. He started to see a lot of destruction, and in text 29, he said, "I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire." So he could see, symbolically he could visualize death and destruction. He could see that this universal form is like the Kala Rupa, the time factor. And in text 30, Krishna says, "O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays." So he's starting to see all this destruction, and in that mood of absolute humility and terrible fear, he says to Krishna in text 31, "O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. Who are you? I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is." So he's saying, you're here, you're in this real terrible, ghastly form. He's asking two things. Who are you and what is your mission? What's going on? What's this horror show? I asked to see all the universes, but I didn't expect this. And Krishna responds in text 32, "Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravriddho lokan samartum iha pravritaha ritepi tvam na bhavishyanti sarve ye vashtita pratyanikshikeshu yodha." So it's very interesting what Krishna says. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain." So Krishna is explaining what it is that Arjuna is seeing in that universal form. Krishna is saying that you are seeing me in the form of time. Time. Now, we generally take time for granted. What's the time? Oh, it's 7:39. That's how we see time. What time shall I meet you tomorrow? What time shall we have lunch? What time do we catch the train? What time do you pick up the kids from school? What time's your doctor's appointment? We all have different things to do at different times, and we take time for granted. And what Krishna is explaining is that, by the way, time is an ingredient of the material world that I've had to put in this world. And by the way, time, I am the controller of time. See, all of us have been in this body for quite some time. Some years, many years. We've been in this body for many years. And Krishna is saying that time I am the great destroyer of the worlds, because ultimately we've understood that time has destroyed everything. Right? I mean, in one sense, time destroyed our youth, didn't it? Like once upon a time, have you ever looked at your pictures from when you're young? Yeah, you look at your pictures and you think, the good old days. Anyone say that? The good old days. Yeah, it happens when we see that time has moved on. Time has moved on and it's destroyed our youth. So in that sense, we see, oh no, we don't want to think of it as destroyed, but the reality is our youth is no longer there. It's gone. So this is what time does. This is the purpose of time. And at the ultimate point, what happens? This body will also have to go. This body is no longer fit for purpose, as they say. It's no longer workable in the environment around us. And so this is what Krishna is saying to Arjuna's first question. Who are you? What you're seeing here, Arjuna, is time. I am that time. I am the time factor. And what's your mission here? That was the other thing Arjuna asked. I do not know what your mission is. But Krishna tells him, okay, my mission here is to destroy everyone on the battlefield. Except a few of you, the Pandavas, everyone here, it's game over. That's why I've come here. That's what's going on here. And so he says to Arjuna in the next text, would anyone like to read text 33? Yes.
Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory, conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasi, can be but an instrument in the fight.
Thank you. So, Krishna is saying in the previous text, everyone here, they're already dead. All these people on the battlefield, how are they already dead? Because you're looking at this universal form, you're looking at the future, and you can see everyone's already gone, they're finished, they're not here. So Krishna is saying, then get up, prepare to fight and win glory. So what is he saying? Now that you can see what's going to happen, and at the end he says, they are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Savyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. So Savyasachi is a name that he's giving one who is expert at shooting arrows. This is Arjuna. You're an expert at shooting arrows. This is you, O Savyasachi. But what he says is, Nimitta Matram. Nimitta Matram means become an instrument in my plan. The plan is here. Do you want to be part of the plan, or do you not want to be part of the plan? But if you don't kill them, they're going to die anyway. Because that's my plan. It's Krishna's plan. It's already there. So he's saying to Arjuna, do what you're meant to do. You are Savyasachi. You are an expert at shooting arrows. And here is your dharma. Here is what you were born to do. What you were born to do is protect. And here is the opportunity you have to live your purpose. And it's a wonderful lesson to us, because by living Arjun's purpose, he's serving Krishna because he's pleasing the Lord, because Krishna is directly asking him to do this for him. So what it was Arjun's talent? Savya Sachi, he is he's the expert at shooting the arrows. He's an expert at shooting the arrows. So Krishna is saying to Arjun, do not suppress your talents. We all of us, every single one of us, have a unique talent that Krishna has given us. He's given us something. We may not be able to do many things, but we can do something really well. We're good at things. We're good at certain things. And what Krishna is saying to Arjuna is, don't suppress your talent. You don't want to fight. You want to go and meditate in the forest. That's not your talent. What your talent is shooting arrows. So be an instrument and shoot arrows as my instrument. So what is it that's our talent? We can really try and dig deep and try and use those talents in Krishna's service. Because using our talents, connecting with Krishna, is what will give us deep contentment. And this is what Arjuna goes through when he's fighting this war. He's very content, even though, after the Bhagavad Gita, even though he was in so much doubt before. Why? Because he knows the right thing to do in life is to use our talents in service and in connection with Krishna. So this is something really introspective that we can all do. It's really, really the key to a happy life. So many times we hear people talk about their job, and they talk about Monday morning blues. You know, it's Sunday and they're already feeling stressed that on Monday they've got to go back to work. And generally why people get Monday morning blues, or they don't feel like, or Sunday seems like such a drag because Monday is coming up, is because the place they work isn't really an expression of their talent. The place they go to work is the place that pays the most. But the place that pays the most may not be an expression of our real talent. And then what happens is we're living a life where we are not authentic. We're not being authentic. And if we're not being authentic, we can't be happy because we're not being ourselves. So this is really what Krishna is saying. Be an instrument in the fight. So for us, how can we be an instrument? Being an instrument is a really amazing way of living life. Because being an instrument means that I'm not too worried, I'm not too concerned whether I am being recognized or not. Because a lot of the time we do things because we're after some recognition. You know, we're after some sort of vakan, you know. We want that. We want this recognition, this kind of, this praise, this adoration. We're wanting this. And when we're an instrument, when we're happy to be an instrument, what that means is we're happy just to do the seva. And in performing the seva, performing the service, that's where we find the happiness. Not the result of the service, not the result of our action, but the action itself gives us the happiness, because that action is totally in line with who we are. So for Arjun, whether everyone praised him or not, because he's fulfilling his purpose, he's satisfied in fighting the war. He's totally satisfied because he's doing what he's born to do for Krishna. So a good example of an instrument is, you know, the masis that are like the old Gujarati masis that are like the shadi.coms, you know. મારી ખબર છે આની પાસે છોકરી છે હા 24 વર્ષની છે યુનિવર્સિટીમાં ગઈ હા એ કે 28 થાય એ લોકો ફાઇન મેચ થશે હા ચાલો હું એને ફોન કરું છું. And what they do, they kind of match two people up They match two people up, they get married, they live happily ever after, and the couple barely know that person. They barely know that person that set them up, that arranged all of this. But that person who did that is being an instrument in the service because they're just happy being that person who can help two people get together. They're just happy, and they don't charge like shadi.com. They just do it. So we can see that this isn't just an everyday example of just being an instrument, and it's not that at the wedding day everyone has to say, yes, Champa Ben got them together. No, it doesn't. That Champa Ben or Chanda Ben or Prabha Ben or whoever they are, they don't mind. I'm just thinking of my grandma's names and my mother's names. So I have one Chanda Ben and one Prabha Ben. So that's my two grandmas. But my Prabha Ben was quite good at this as well. But this is an example. We want to do something for someone, but we don't worry about what we're going to get in return. That's called being an instrument. And being an instrument is very satisfying. But it can only be satisfying when we're doing something that's within our nature. Because when we're an instrument doing something against our nature, then what happens is, because we're not so happy in doing the service in the first place, then what might happen is we start to look for things like credit, recognition, and when we don't get it, we feel, why did I bother in the first place? And then the whole exercise becomes rather frustrating. So we should, I guess the other thing I'll say with that is, it's not that we should only do service that's within our nature, we also need to sometimes just do the need of the day. Sometimes that's needed. Sometimes, like if someone's broken their leg and needs a lift to the hospital, and I say, yes, I'm driving, but going to the hospital at a fast speed is not my nature. that's going against the need of the day. But so we should still do that. But our consistent way of connecting with Krishna is something we can introspect. What am I good at? Like Krishna saying to Arjuna, this is what you're good at. Do this. So then he moves on and says in text 34, Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, they've already been destroyed by me. So kill them, don't be disturbed. Just vanquish your enemies in battle. All these, they're already dead. So Bhishma, Drona, all these people you're seeing on the other side, I've already killed them. Just go and do your bit. Krishna is saying now, it's interesting, in the previous text, Krishna is saying be an instrument. So being an instrument means, like we said, we're not looking for credit. And then the next text, Krishna is saying, I've already done everything, but you go and take the credit. So this is the way that Krishna reciprocates. As much credit as we don't want, he gives more. And when we want a lot, we don't ever feel like we've had enough. So this is what Krishna is doing. He's saying to Arjuna, just do the last bit and you'll get all the credit of being the famous warrior who killed everyone on the battlefield. They're already dead. Bhishma, Drona, they're already gone. And there's so many layers to the story from the Mahabharata, which I won't divert into, otherwise we won't move past this text. But Drona was his teacher. Bhishma is his grandfather. And Arjuna didn't really want to get involved in this fight because of how close he was to them. But Krishna is assuring him that if you don't do it, they're going to die in some other way. So you just do it. So he moves on. And now Sanjay comes back into the camera lens, and he's saying to Dhritarashtra that, so Arjun, he's just offering obeisances again and again. He's saying to Dhritarashtra, once he's heard this from Krishna, he's just offering obeisances. He hears these words and he's just offering obeisances. And now Arjun in text 36 begins his prayers. And we can see that Arjun starts his prayers with full glorification of Krishna. O Master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. So he's saying, you are everything. You are everything. When anyone hears your name, they become happy. And then in the next text, he's saying that you're even greater than Brahma. He's the creator, but you're the creator of the creator. This is you. This is the person I'm standing right in front of. You are the refuge of the universe. Oh my God. And in text 38, you're the original personality of Godhead. You're the supreme refuge. You are everything. So he's getting very excited and emotional about Krishna's supremacy. And after glorifying Krishna, he's now again just respectfully paying his obeisances. Again, respectfully paying his obeisances. So in text 40, he says, obeisances to you from the front, from behind, from all sides. You are the master of limitless might. You are all pervading. You are everything. So he's seeing this universal form. This form is in the front, it's above him, it's to the right, it's to the left, it's behind him. He's everywhere. And all he can do after glorifying him, he just pays obeisances, and he just says thousands of times, just accept my obeisances. Just accept me as your humble servant. And now, in text 41 and 42, so he's asked Krishna, if we think of what's happened so far, he's asked Krishna, who are you? Krishna says, I am time. I am time. And Krishna says, because I am time, I've killed everyone here already. Do what you got to do in this fight. Use your talent in my service. And by using your talent in my service, you'll be happy. And Arjun is becoming very excited. He glorifies Krishna, you're everything. He pays obeisances, and now he starts to apologize. Why does he start to apologize? Vipin bhai, you wanted to read? Can you read? Yeah, 41 and 42, please.
Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends, O infallible one. Please excuse me for all those offenses.
So he's saying, Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakyeti, I've just treated you like a friend. All these years, we've lied down in bed together, we've been eating together, we joke around together, I make fun of you, you make fun of me. I didn't know you're such a big man. Oh my God, not just a big man, you're the Supreme Lord, and I'm just having a laugh with you. Oh, please excuse me for all these offenses. I was sometimes joking you, sometimes alone, and sometimes I teased you in front of many friends. And everyone was laughing at you because I joked. Please excuse me, you're the Supreme Lord. What was I thinking? Oh, infallible one. And he's still apologizing, he's still recognizing Krishna's greatness. And then text 44. He says, you are the Supreme Lord to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask for your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. So Arjun is saying, please just tolerate. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean to offend you. I hope there wasn't any offense. I didn't mean it in that way. Just like a father, like a son can be inappropriate with a father. I mean, the son could just hit his father, and the father will tolerate. He won't tolerate from anyone else. But when it's the child, oh, how sweet. You know, my son hit me. So just as and these are just examples. It could be mother and daughter, mother, son. This is just an example of the parent-child relationship. The friend, the impertinence of a friend. So how friends banter with each other. Has it ever happened that we're joking around with a friend, but we said something that they didn't find funny, that we found funny. That can happen. Or the other way around, they thought it was funny, everyone else laughed, but actually we got quite upset. So, but what happens, there's a couple of things we can say on this, is first thing is when there's a lot of trust in a relationship, then we understand that the intention wasn't meant to be painful, wasn't meant to hurt. So if there's trust, then we can see past the action and see the intention. If there's no trust, then even if there's good action, we will doubt the intention. We'll be cynical about the intention. So trust is very important in a relationship, especially when it comes to friendships. Very, very important. The other thing we can say about this also is that if we want to go from selfishness, which we may have traces of or lots of, and we want to go on this journey from selfishness to selflessness. And selflessness is a life of being able to give and not worry so much about what comes in return, just being able to give wholeheartedly, lovingly, not expecting anything back. Just, it's a journey. It's not that one day we'll be selfish, the next day we'll be selfless. And that journey from selfishness to selflessness is called sensitivity. If we can become sensitive to others, what is it that other people like? What is it that other people don't like? You know, sometimes you may have cracked a joke and someone tells you, "Mane kharab laigu." And then you might just say, "Yeah, but you shouldn't be so sensitive." How does one feel when one is told that? Like, I've just opened up to you, I've told you I'm feeling quite bad, but you're just telling me I shouldn't be sensitive. Actually, we should be we, the person who's done the offending, even if we didn't mean to offend, should be sensitive to understand what that person can take and cannot take. And if we don't know, better to be cautious and not take that risk. Because what's the return? The return is just that a few other people laughed at your joke. It's not really worth the risk of actually upsetting someone, hurting someone. So being sensitive is really crucial in that journey to being selfless. Because selfless means I'm going to give. And what do we want to give? We want to give our heart. We want to give our love. And if we bring it back to what Krishna started with today, Krishna said, "Kalosmi, I am time." So what is the most precious thing we can give someone? Our time. The most precious thing we can give someone is our time. And we can really start to introspect, how do we spend our time? And how much time am I spending on people, situations, things that are not giving me inner peace, that are not giving me a deeper spiritual connection with Krishna? And how much time am I spending that is giving me that meaningful purpose? And the more time we spend giving connection to others, giving others connection to Krishna, and we can give others connection to Krishna by spending time with them. Time is so precious, and sometimes we waste our own time, and sometimes we don't appreciate the time that others are giving us, or we don't take full advantage of the time that others are giving us, because time is so precious. It's so precious. It's the most precious thing that is in this world, because it's the one thing we can never get back. You can lose £1,000, but you can earn it again tomorrow. But whatever time you lost today, you can't get that time back tomorrow. Time is spent, and once it's spent, we can't get that time back. So what can we do with friendships? Ultimately, when it comes to friendships, it's something we spoke about before, is that we can have friendships that are recommended in the Shastra. How do we have friendships recommended in the Shastra? There's the 6 loving exchanges. We mentioned it before, but it feels important to mention it again. So one is, and it's two ways, so it's three things that can be done in two ways. One is you cook prasad, cook for someone, and the other person can accept the offering. Not I'm full, Mikhaili Duch, accept the offering. The other one, the second one is offer a gift, and the other person can accept the gift. And the third one is reveal your mind in confidence. Reveal your mind. And the other person, what will they do? Give that person time and hear confidentially. Hear that person. Give that person some time. Hear them out. You know, sometimes someone wants to tell us something and we're so quick at just wanting to give advice. But sometimes just by being there and just letting that person speak it out. We see in the first chapter of the Gita, Arjun just talks and Krishna is just listening. And then only in the second chapter does Krishna start talking. But he lets Arjun let it all out. He doesn't say as soon as Arjun starts talking, you're being silly, don't be stupid, go fight. No. Which is what we do with our kids a lot of the time. You know? No, he hears him out. He hears him out. And by being heard, when we give someone that time, that they are heard, that develops a real meaningful, loving relationship, a real connection. So this is how we can have friendships, and in one sense, how we can tolerate each other, because by doing those things together, gifts, cooking, hearing each other out, by developing deep friendship in this way, what happens? Trust develops, trust becomes deep. And then when there's the odd misunderstanding, because there's so much trust, it's forgiven very easily. Because we know the intention wasn't bad. And the other example, the husband, the familiarity of his wife. So husband and wife will always argue. That's even Gandhi argued with his wife, and he's the, if you like, he's the epitome of non-violence, peace. But even I heard a story that once Gandhi was telling his wife, get out. You know, so, and that's Gandhi. So these things will happen. But what does it say? The familiarity. Because there's so much familiarity, there can be misunderstanding, there can be arguments. Just tolerate. Just like the husband and the wife will tolerate each other. We may say, okay, divorce, this, that, but then it's all there. You come home and everything's still there. Why? Because there's tolerance. So Arjun is saying, in the same way that a father tolerates the son, the friend tolerates the friend, the husband and wife tolerate each other, please excuse me in the same way. Just disregard the way I just treated you so casually. I treated you so casually. And then Arjun carries on and says, after seeing this universal form, which I've never seen before, I am gladdened. But at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear. This is text 45. My mind is disturbed with fear. And now, he comes with his request. So his response to Krishna is first glorify him, pay obeisances, apologize, and now he's got a request. And my request is, I want to change the channel back to the two-armed form. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead. O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. So he's saying to Krishna, please. And he also says, in the next verse, 46, O universal form, thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and club, wheel, conch and lotus flower. So he's saying to Krishna that I've seen you in your universal form. Why did Arjun want to see the universal form in the first place? Does anyone remember? Snevens? People could remember. That's Krishna. So in the future generations will know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord because he can display the universal form. So now, what Arjun is saying, just in case people have any confusion about you being the origin of Vishnu, because there's sometimes that big debate. Krishna, Vishnu. So Arjun saying here, show me your four-armed form. That is the form of Vishnu, where you have the club, wheel, conch, and the lotus flower in your forearms. So this is why he's saying, show me the forearm form. Just in case in the future anyone says anything, we know and we can see the trajectory of this chapter. Krishna started in his two-armed form. He then showed his universal form. Then what we'll see now, Arjun's requesting him, show me the four-armed form, and then back to his original two-armed form, human-like form. So this is Arjun's request. Let me see this. And Krishna is kind of teasing him. Okay, so you asked for my universal form. And he's saying in text 48, O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has seen this universal form of mine. And then he says, so this universal form, by the way, Krishna is saying to him, that this is very rare that anyone can see this. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifice, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penance, can I be seen in this form in the material world. So how is it that Arjun got to see this form? Does anyone remember? Yes.
He gave him the eyes.
He gave him the eyes, the Divya Chakshush. He gave him the divine vision. He gave him the divine vision. Krishna gave that divine vision to Arjun. Why did he give him the vision? Because Arjun requested to see the universal form. And what mood did Arjun have when requesting? What was his mood? Was he being proud? Was he being arrogant? Did he demand Krishna? Very submissive. Yeah, he's very submissive, very humble. He said, if you think, if you want to, if you wish, if you think I'm worthy, please let me see this universal form. And then Krishna gave him the divine vision. So here Krishna is saying that all these other things, all these other rituals that people can do, that's not going to give them access to even see this form. You need divine vision. So what is divine vision? Ultimately, if we act with our higher nature, if we act with the divinity that is within us, then we will get that divine vision and be able to see Krishna. We don't need to do so many penance, so much charity. What we need is the heart to be completely devoted to Krishna's reciprocation. Because he's always giving it. But can we believe that he's there? So Krishna says, okay, text 49. Does anyone want to read 49 please, where Krishna is kind of calming Arjun down?
You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire.
Thank you. So he's saying that be free, relax. Now whatever you've asked for, I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it to you because you asked for it. You wanted to see. You want to see this? I'll show it to you. So now they're engaged in something. Krishna is going to turn back into his four-arm form and two-arm form, and Arjun is looking. So now the camera goes back to Sanjay in text 50. And Sanjay says to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. So he's had this whole experience, and he then has deep relief that he gets his Krishna back. He gets his Krishna back. When he saw the universal form, he started to get so disturbed, and he just thought, where's my Krishna? You know, my Krishna, the two-armed form Krishna, the one who I behold in my heart. Where is that Krishna? And now Krishna gives himself back in that way. And in text 51, it says, when Arjun saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardhan, seeing this human-like form, so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind and I am restored to my original nature. So how can we see Krishna? The only way we can see Krishna is having the eyes of pure love. Prem Anjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. The eyes of the Prem Anjana, so the Anjana, the eyes of love. And if our eyes and our heart is tinged with the love for the Supreme Lord, then we can see Krishna. So we don't need to do so much. We think we need to do so much penance, so much sacrifice, so much austerity, so much charity. All these things are good. All these things are very useful in our spiritual practice. And without them, we won't even be able to have the discipline to practice spiritual life. But it's not the goal. The goal is that the heart becomes fully, it's soft. We want the heart to become soft. So that soft like butter. It said if the heart is soft like butter, then the original makhan chor, the butter thief, will come and steal our heart. So if we want makhan chor Krishna to steal our heart, we need the heart to be soft like butter. So how do we practice our spiritual life with a soft heart? Because then the question will arise, if I have a soft heart, everyone will take advantage of me. Does that happen? When we're soft-hearted, everyone will take advantage of me. So the key to a healthy spiritual life is have a very, very soft heart, but have very, very thick skin. That's the art of a healthy spiritual life. Have a very soft heart, but have very thick skin. Have very thick skin. And this is where our spiritual practice can give us that strength, the inner strength, to not take the material world, the illusion, so seriously. This is one advice that our old temple president at the Hare Krishna temple, who's now left us, Shruti Dharma Prabhu, used to say, don't take the illusion so seriously. It's like we take it so serious. It's like you have this big fight with someone, you have this big argument with someone, and we take it so seriously, like it consumes us. The amount of people we have to call to tell, the amount of tears we may shed, the way our heart may race, we give it so much importance. So Krishna then carries on and says, in text 52, my dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. Wow. So this two-armed form is desired to be beheld by even the demigods. See, to ask the Lord something, they all go to Brahma, and they say to Brahma, you go and tell Vishnu that this is our problem, this is our issue. So the demigods go to Brahma, and so, for example, when Ravan was running riot, the demigods all went to Brahma. Brahma then says to Vishnu, okay, there's a problem, Ravan is running riot, what can we do? And then Vishnu says, okay, don't worry, I'm going to come down as Ram, all of you come as monkeys and we'll destroy Ravan. We'll get rid of Ravan, we'll get rid of that demoniac person from the earth. So it's so hard to see Krishna in his two-armed form, because to see Krishna in two-armed form means we have no other motivation. Ananya Bhakti means no hidden agenda. No agenda, no other agenda except Krishna. So it may seem, okay, this is quite difficult because I have agenda. We may feel like I have an agenda, so how do I approach my spiritual life? How do I deepen my connection with Krishna if I do have an agenda? Well, the thing is, if we just serve him, and if we connect with him, if we chant his name, then what naturally happens, we become attracted to him. And just through that attraction, it becomes very natural to just want Krishna more and more because he's Krishna. Because he is who he is, not because of everything he can give me, not because of Not even because he can take me to the spiritual world, just because he's Krishna and he's the best person to be with. And he's the person I want to spend all my time with. So text 53. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood. So now he's talking about the two-armed form. And he's kind of saying the same thing. You cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penance, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. So he said that about seeing himself in the universal form, and now he's saying even to see this two-armed form, which the demigods can't even see, you're not going to be able to see me by doing study, by doing these penances, giving charity. All these things are good for our spiritual life, but that's not what's going to impress me. That doesn't impress Krishna. And Krishna then tells Arjuna in the next text, what is it that impresses him? My dear Arjuna, text 54, my dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and thus can be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. This is Ananya Bhakti. This is undivided devotional service. So many times we may be doing something for someone else, we may be doing something for Krishna. We can always check in and ask ourselves, how much of this am I doing for some sort of result, and how much am I doing with a devoted heart? And what's really recommended, and what Krishna recommends, is this process of chanting the holy name. Koli Kale Nam Rupe Krishna Avatar. Koli Kale. In this age of Kali, Nam Rupe, in the form of his name, Krishna Avatar, Krishna has appeared. So in Kali Yuga, to really connect with Krishna, it's by chanting. And one of the main things we can see by this whole chapter and everything we've spoken about is that our chanting cannot really impress anyone else. It's like we sit at home, we do our Mara, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That's not really going to impress anyone. But if I study and I give a nice class here, that can impress others. You know, if I give charity, and we'd like to thank Mr. Patel for this 5,000 donation, that's going to impress people. There's so many different ways of doing something, but there could be a tinge of wanting something else with our service. There's something else I want. My serious penance, I've been fasting the whole day. Ekadashi, I do nirjal, I don't even drink water. And you don't even need to tell anyone. Someone who's doing nirjal, you can just look at them and you can see, oh my God, they just pani pile. You know? Whenever I do nirjal, whenever I've done that, my mom said, pani topi dikra, pani topi, you know. And it's so funny because it's so interesting when you're a parent how things are, because I guess I'm a bit more hardcore than my wife, but when now that my older daughter, she's 10 now, so now I'm thinking, okay, like you're 10, you can start doing some of these austerities, you know, a bit of fasting, this, that. But my wife, she's like, "When bichari, let her eat something, give her something to drink," you know. But when my mom says to us, or when her mom says to her, drink something, she's like, no, why don't you let me do it? You know? But when it's our children, we feel something, right? We feel something really intense. That's that intense love that a parent has for the child. But doing this penance, doing this austerity, giving this charity, studying something, doing elaborate worship in front of people, all of this is amazing. But there could be a tinge. There could be. Not saying there always is, but there's always the risk that I'm trying to impress others also. I'm trying to get something else also from this seva. But when we chant Hare Krishna, there's no one else that can be impressed. In fact, it can be rather annoying if someone's chanting and you're right next to them. You're trying to get on with your work and they're chanting. But if we're chanting with love and devotion just to connect with Krishna, that's the way that is recommended in Kali Yuga. That's the recommended process. Chant this name, and what will happen when we chant the name is described Cheto Marjana Darpanam, that within the heart, all the unwanted pride, anger, that's the 5-minute sign. I thought you were saying hi, but it's the 5 minutes. Okay. So, all the unwanted pride, anger, lust, greed, jealousy, envy, all of that, through chanting, what happens? It cleanses the heart. And as we cleanse the heart, we start to notice it. And when we start to notice it, let's not try and deny what's within. Because if we deny it, we'll just push it back in. If we let it be there, and we can be comfortable with ourselves, okay, I have this. Krishna, I don't want it, but I have it. And just by being aware, and by praying to Krishna, it can slowly, the unwanted anarthas are the unwanted habits, unwanted qualities within the heart, they can all disappear. And what will happen? It will all be replaced by this Ananya Bhakti, this devotion for Krishna. It will all be replaced with wanting to please Krishna because he's Krishna. Because he's that two-armed formed boy who's in Vrindavan having a good time. And in the final text, in this chapter, he says, my dear Arjun, let me get to it. He who engages in my pure devotional service, free from contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, he who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and, this is the one everyone, who is friendly to every living being. Oh my God. He certainly comes to me. Who is friendly to every living being. It does not say one who takes revenge. It doesn't say that. It does not say one who can hold a grudge the longest. It does not say that. It says one who is friendly to every living being. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we be friendly to everyone? I think I've told everyone, but it's coming to me again, so I'll mention it. I remember saying to my friend a couple of years ago, I said to him, Prabhuji, if someone doesn't like me, and he finished the sentence for me, he says, you don't like him back. I said, yeah. And this is something I worked on. If someone doesn't like me, it doesn't mean I have to not like them back. If someone has taken me as their enemy, it doesn't mean that they have to be my enemy. And this is what Krishna means by be friendly to every living entity. Nothing is heavier than holding a grudge. Nothing can drag your life more than holding a grudge against someone for whatever they've done, or plotting revenge. Can you imagine what your mind must go through? Or maybe we haven't experienced when we've done that. Can we remember what our mind went through just trying to get revenge on someone? And at the end, did it at all feel satisfying? Probably not. So this is what Krishna is saying. If we want to come to him, he certainly comes to me. So he's giving the promise. He certainly comes to me. So let's not hold a grudge. Let's not plot revenge. Let's not make an enemy just because they made us an enemy. Let's not dislike someone just because they dislike us. Because this will please Krishna. This will please Krishna. Just to make this, there's a nuance to this which we'll just quickly mention. Being friendly to everyone doesn't mean we have to be best friends with everyone. So it doesn't mean, because everyone's so different. We all connect with different people according to our personality. We have people who are like-minded. It means we just don't dislike anyone. It means we don't have enemies or plot revenge. But it doesn't mean we have to be best friends with everyone. Because that idea is somewhat utopian. It's not possible. So it doesn't mean we have to be best friends with everyone. It doesn't mean we have to be super close with everyone. But definitely be friendly with everyone. That's what Krishna wants. That's what he's saying. So I think that's on the dot, 8:30. So thank you very much for your kind attention. And if anyone would like to share any comments, any questions, anything at all, any realizations from what we've discussed today, we'd really welcome your comments. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Can I ask?
Yeah, sure.
On this last point, and it's because I've been asked this and I always struggle with replying, is that, so my question is that, is it okay if we assume a neutral position? So for example, okay, if somebody is my enemy, I don't have to be their enemy, but I don't have to be their friend either. Because if you don't learn from experiences,
Yeah.
then you're going to get knocked again and
Yeah.
again, you know.
Yeah.
And what do? Do you still try and be friendly, or do you remain neutral? I get the point about not being an enemy of. That's a given. But is that neutral position okay?
But
Forgiving.
neutral can be friendly, because neutral can be Hare Krishna and move on.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna is fine, but you know, if
Hare
I'm
Krishna,
inviting
smile.
a group of people home and I'm
Yeah, you
thinking,
don't
but
have-
I don't want this
No,
one
that's
home
okay.
because they're going to create problems in my life. It's going to create toxicity in other relationships. You know.
That's called being friends. Being friendly is, I'm not going to disrespect you.
Right.
Hare Krishna, smile,
Right.
move on. Jai Shri
Okay.
Krishna, nice to see you. Or even, don't say nice to see you if you're not finding it nice. Jai Shri Krishna,
Yeah.
smile and move on.
Yeah,
But
okay.
be friendly. I mean, it's that example. If someone is in an abusive relationship, you'd want that person to forgive the abuser.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean.
You forget. I think that's the
Yeah, and
problem.
it doesn't mean that you even go back to an abusive
Yeah,
relationship,
yeah,
right? It just
yeah.
means you've forgiven to let it go.
Yeah.
But we've also got to take care of ourselves, because
Yeah.
if we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else.
True. So it's be friendly, but don't have to be friends, if I
Yeah.
can put it that way. Would
Yeah,
that make
be friendly,
sense?
don't need to be friends. And neutral is friendly.
Friendly, fine.
It depends. If we see neutral as being stone cold, that's actually
Yeah.
not neutral.
No,
But
that's not
yeah,
neutral,
If we
yeah.
can let it go neutral, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, then just move on next. You know, just we don't have to go that extra mile, come to my house and all of that stuff, because that's called being. That's once you feed someone and they feed you and you accept, that's called developing a close friendship, because that's where those loving exchanges were given in the Shastra.
No, thank you for that actually, because I've been asked this question a few times and I really struggle to answer it, because I believe in forgiving, and then I get told, yeah, but then how can you, if you forgive, that means you're allowing them to do it to you again. I kind of struggle with that.
Yeah, we can have a
so-
we can have a respectful distance.
Yeah.
And we don't want to give anyone the power to be able to destroy us.
Destroyers, yeah.
So being friendly doesn't give that, but
Yeah.
if we're getting too close to someone who could
Yeah.
do that, we have to be intelligent
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
our
No, thank you for that.
association. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, in text 33 and 34, we referred to Arjuna being the Savyasachi and the warrior, and being asked to be an instrument in the fight. Yet at the same time, Krishna is also saying that these guys are gone.
Yeah.
They're already dead, including the soldiers on the battlefield who came to do their duty, but they weren't asked to do their duty. They weren't being asked to do their duty, but Krishna is asking Arjun to do his duty. Why?
Because Arjun didn't want to do his duty. The others were ready to do it. They were ready to fight. They were ready to carry on. Arjun was the one who had the doubt. Arjun was the one who said, I'm not going to do my duty. The rest of the soldiers, they were ready, they were prepared to fight, and they were going to fight. Arjun was the one saying, I'm not going to do it. So Krishna is saying, get up, fight, do your duty.
But but the decision had already been made by Krishna that these are all going to be gone anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So if Arjun didn't do his duty, all those people would have still died, because the plan. That's the thing. Krishna has his plan.
Yeah.
We're just doing a minor part of his plan, and it's just with the minute free will we have. How much of our life are we going to spend? I guess this is the two things that's recommended. Try and do when it comes to making decisions, try and always make decisions with that limited time that we have, is whatever's going to be favorable to developing that bhakti, accept all those things. And whatever's unfavorable to developing that bhakti, situation, people, whatever, try and reject. And that way we are following Krishna's plan. His plan is, whatever he's arranged for us individually, he's arranged a plan that within this life, we can go back to him. The plan has been made. It now just depends on us making those right decisions as to how much of an instrument we want to be in that plan.
Okay, I think you've answered that really well by saying it's a decision still.
It's always, it's still a decision. It's still a decision. That, with the minute free will we have, we just have to agree to be part of it. Yeah, that decision is up to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to share anything else?
So just following on from that, if Krishna knew everyone was dead, why does he have to use Arjuna as an instrument to do it?
Yeah, and he answers this. He says to Arjun that he basically wants him to get the credit. Yeah, he wants him to be the glory. See, Krishna, he wants to glorify his devotees. The devotee wants to glorify Krishna, and Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. So just like Ram could have gone to get Sita by himself straight away. But first, who went there? Hanuman went. So who's glorified the most? Hanuman. If we hear the story of Nrsingadev, whenever we hear the story of Lord Nrsingadev, he came out of a pillar and he killed the demon Hiranyakashipu. But the whole story is based around Prahlad. The whole story is based around the devotee. So pretty much what Krishna wants to do is give the glory, give the credit to his devotees. And what the devotee wants to do is give that glory, give the credit to Krishna. And that's a big lesson for us. See, one real good example is when Hanuman came back from seeing Sita. They all he came back, he got to the other end of the ocean, and before they went to get to Ram, all of them got together. All of the monkeys, Jambavan, they were all there in that team who was going to go to the south. And Hanuman went to Ram as part of the team. Hanuman didn't want to take the credit for himself. It was we found Sita. It wasn't I found Sita. We found Sita. So the devotee always wants to give credit to everyone else. But Krishna, the Lord, always wants to give the credit to the devotee. And that's the relationship becoming more and more, more and more connected.
So as ever you said, I think you said, Kalos me, time I am. So time this man has given us, and the clarity that he explains everything is wonderful. And time you've given, so thank you again to all of you, and I know newcomers and returners, all are welcome. Just a couple of small announcements. Our next session is on the 15th of May, so it's a couple of weeks from now. Then following that, today's person that is helping with the prashadam has asked them to remain anonymous, which I found very hard. But there is some pendas there, which is a celebration of their joy and our joy with what they are doing. So we're grateful for the anonymous donors, but it's pizza and salad, so it's slightly different. And just at the end, I'm not sure if people realize, my apologies for not being here last week, or for the last session. And to add to the mix, we thought we'd mix it all up, and I brought some mud that is prashad. so we got some mud which is prashad, which is actually the mud from a place called Raman Ghat. So if you're okay, I'll just give you 2 minutes about the story about the mud and why it's so important. So we've got the pizzas and we've got the mud at the end of it. So one question I've got to ask just you as an audience generally, you're talking, he so eloquently gives us this insight, because when I read the chapters, I say, yeah, there's a form, this, and you move on, and that's it, you forget it. But actually, one reflection I'm going to ask you, is that actually Arjuna is saying, here is God, and here I am worshipping. Now, he talks about the fact that actually we all come to that point and we're no longer here. How many of us can actually in reality say that I actually believe with all conviction that this is God? I can't. At that point of death, would I be able to think, wow, this is God? We're hearing all these chapters. We've seen this universal form. He's given us everything. I don't know, is anyone here besides this young man?
No.
Besides this, but actually, I'm just saying it's quite difficult. But yeah?
No, we had this question last time. I find it quite difficult. Since I've been coming in really detail, that's when we say there's only one God, that's Krishna. The way I was brought up is the Trimurti. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, then that's not...
Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh.
Okay,
I
let's...
was thinking that those are three gods and she was the ultimate.
Okay, so let's say even if you said Trimurti is God,
Yeah.
actually, do you believe that at your point of death, that this is where I'm going? That's one question. Sorry. You too.
I think it's about having faith
Okay.
that there's God.
Okay.
So as long as you can live with that faith of knowing, none of us going to see God. As long as you live with that faith, yes.
Okay. So the...
I think we need to have a separate class.
Yeah, no.
Because this, in 2 minutes is not so.
No, I agree. So the reason I'm bringing this up is the mud story. So it's the mud story. So actually, is that fair? The Brahman? Yeah. So it's a story about Brahman Gatsama. So we went to, luckily I had the pleasure of my wife taking me to Vrindavan, and we went to a few other places. And we went to Gokul, and then we were being shown around by somebody, and there's this one place where it's described that Krishna was there in Gokul, he was 3-4 years old, and his mum had found out that he's eating mud. What? Because what are you doing? Goes, she couldn't believe it. It's like, one, he's trying to make all this mutton, he's going there to steal all this, he's going there to do this with the monkeys, and now they're telling me that he's eating mud. What am I doing wrong that he's eating mud? So she goes running to him, really upset, said, okay, what's going on? He goes, and he's just playing there, he's going like this, he goes, you're eating mud. And like he's trying to keep his mouth closed, his cheek going, he goes, oh, who told you that? He goes, how can I be eating mud? And he's still like chewing away, keeping his mouth closed. And he goes, no, all these boys, that are young boys, they've told me that you're eating mud. What have I not done for you? What have I not cooked for you? What have I not done? Why are you doing this to me? He's like, oh, no, they're talking rubbish. And she goes, no, we know in our Shastras, any child under the age of 5, they'll tell you the truth. He goes, no, they're lying. They're my enemies. You don't know how they treat me. Then he goes, no, your brother Balram, he's telling me that you're eating mud, and he's seen you, and he sent me here to you. He goes, Balram, actually, he's my enemy. He goes, you don't know how bad he treats me. In front of you, he's very nice, but afterwards, he's like pushing and pulling. You don't know how bad he treats me. But he goes, you won't believe what he said to me. It's just so embarrassing. I won't even admit it. So this is the story we got from this man. And he goes, what can be so bad? He goes, no. He goes, look at me. He goes, Balram, white. Look at your mum, white. Look at your father, white. You, black. You're adopted. So he goes, can you believe that this is my brother is telling me that I'm adopted? And so mother's just smack here, open your mouth, let me see what's in there. And he's carrying on chewing. He goes, actually, I've got no friends here. He goes, I can't believe this Balram is treating me like this. And he goes, but I've heard that there's this young girl that comes to your house to cook. And who is it? And I think I need a friend. But I don't want to do anything with her. But I heard her parents already get on with your parents. But it was Brishubhanu and Kirtida. I heard that, they're really nice to you. But because this girl is coming here, why don't I just marry her? This is Radharani. Why don't I just marry her? And why don't I just, it's not for me. It's to make all these families together. So she goes, oh my God, just open your mouth. So he eventually opens his mouth. And when he opens the mouth, she's like, whoa, what am I seeing? And inside, she sees the whole universe. She sees everything, and she sees herself and this boy. And she's there, and the boy is doing the same thing. And she's thinking, my God, what's going on here? and say, okay, close your mouth, go to sleep, finished. But the reason for saying that, actually the residents of Vrindavan are such that they don't believe Krishna is God. There's a very nice thing, Sri Govinda Prema Sada Bashi. So they are drowning in the love of God. So when they see this form of Krishna, which is like, wow, this doesn't fit in, all that water just drowns them, and that's the love. They say that we're drowning in a different sort of thing. We're drowning in the ocean of Maya. So sometimes when we see these things, we think, wow, Krishna is God, then all of a sudden we sink into those things. So in this place, what they do, they actually give you the mud in the same area that he was at. And there's another place very nearby, which we can talk about another day, which is where Mother Yashoda went to Lord Shiva and did some abhishek. But the reason we've got the mud today is from that story. But it's just to reflect the fact that actually, yes, we all love and we have this time, but the relationship between us and the residents of India is very similar, that we don't believe Krishna is God, but our position is slightly different. So that was it. So, thank you. Thank you. Just to make a reflection on that story, so please